Freeing the captives. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we were talking about setting the captives free. That is a goal of the Lord. Today we've got a shocking story for you. Because of this coronavirus problem, many people are at home. Who are some of these that are at home and at risk? They're little children. And who is preying on them? What are these children watching? And why are they sitting ducks for predators? A shocking story that Heather Sells now tells us about.
Those who track the world of sex trafficking think that COVID-19 may have somewhat slowed the exploitation. One reason, record unemployment. That means less cash available for commercial sex.
If 1 out of 3 people are out of work, every discretionary dollar is going to be very carefully looked at.
What also may be slowing things down, the would-be buyers at home with their families, unable to sneak out of the house. But anti-trafficking advocates are taking little consolation. They're worried about unemployment and young people who are financially desperate and easy targets for pimps to recruit. They're also concerned about the stay-at-home orders across the country, which has led to millions of students spending even more time online.
Kids and teens who are home are almost completely dependent on their devices to complete schoolwork. And parents are balancing their own work demands with their new role as at-home educators, potentially resulting in hours of unsupervised screen time.
These kids can be sitting ducks for predators who also find themselves with extra time in their schedules.
Predators who may otherwise refrain from exploitive and abusive conduct while at the office are now far more likely to use these extra hours of unsupervised time to identify, groom, and abuse children online.
These predators can find kids in online apps and games and pose as a friend. After earning their trust, they often request some kind of sexual picture and blackmail them. What's not helping, hardcore sites like Pornhub offering free content right now in what they say is an attempt to encourage people to stay at home. Internet safety advocate Donna Rice Hughes says porn is not just a temptation for adults, but also for young children who can get drawn in and start viewing before they realize what's happening.
Kids as young as 10 years old, 8 and 10 years old, make up about 25% of the porn users of the under 18 category.
Hughes' organization Enough is Enough and Shared Hope are offering parents extra resources right now to fight the temptation. They urge placing age-appropriate filters and monitoring tools on kids' devices and approving buddies on gaming apps. The other recommendation is for parents to begin ongoing conversations with their children, not only about predators, but about their importance and value in this world. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Well, in other news, the mystery deepens. Where is Kim Jong-un? President Trump is making vague hints about the faith of the North Korean leader. But what does he know? John Jessup has more on that story from our CBN News Bureau.
Thanks, Pat. At Monday's White House news briefing, reporters asked the president if he had any updates on Kim's health.
Yes, I do have a very good idea, but I can't talk about it now. I just wish him well. I've had a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. I hope he's fine. I do know how he's doing, relatively speaking.
Korean leader has not been seen in public for weeks, missing important national celebrations. There are reports that Kim, who's overweight and a heavy smoker, had a cardiovascular procedure and that he might be in a coma or dead. North Korea watchers say if he is indeed dead, the leadership is scrambling to install a successor. Many believe Kim's sister is likely to take his place. David Maxwell of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies told CBN's Faith Nation she would be as harsh as her brother and their father and grandfather before them.
We know she is a tough leader. She's been sanctioned for her brutal human rights, overseeing executions. And so if she does come to power, I think we can see her act just like her brother, where she will have brutal purges to consolidate her power and rule with an iron hand.
South Korea says Kim is alive and well, but many analysts are beginning to doubt whether that's true. Well, new testimony is surfacing supporting an accusation of sexual assault against Joe Biden by a former aide. Tara Reid came forward a few weeks ago describing an incident she says happened while serving on Biden's Senate staff. Reid claims Biden reached under her skirt and touched her inappropriately. Now her former neighbor's supporting that account. Linda Lacasse says Reid detailed the alleged incident to her in the mid-1990s. That comes as a clip from CNN's Larry King program in 1993, surfaced a few weeks ago. Reid says it's her mother's voice asking what her daughter could do about, quote, problems she had working in a prominent senator's office.
San Luis Obispo, California. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm wondering what a staffer would do besides go to the press in Washington. My daughter has just left there after working for a prominent senator and could not get through with her problems at all. And the only thing she could have done was go to the press, and she chose not to do it out of respect for him.
Or she had a story to tell, but out of respect for the person she worked for, she didn't tell it.
That's true.
Major media outlets have not asked Biden about the alleged assault. When Fox News asked the Biden campaign about the charge, it pointed to a previous statement saying, Pat, this absolutely did not happen.
We don't need any more of these things. Isn't it awful, a great nation of America, that these things keep running around? But this was so graphic, and it was so supported, well supported by contemporaneous witnesses, that it's going to be hard for Joe Biden to get away from. So then what do? They're not going to have a convention, apparently, because of the COVID-19 problem. And what's going to happen? Well, I don't know what the answer is. I'm sure you don't either, but our nation's politics are in disarray. You know, is the Lord trying to tell this nation something? We're having serious problems, and it's one group against another, and again, a house divided against itself can't stand. John?
Most of the nation's governors in their moves to reopen their states, and he says it's time some schools reopen as well. Meanwhile, we're learning that plasma therapy is having a positive impact on some patients and about the devastating effects the virus is having on some in the healthcare community. Dale Hurd has the story.
New reports that an Oxford University vaccine is showing promise. Monkeys given the trial drug and exposed to the virus have not caught COVID-19. Scientists have scheduled tests for as many as 6,000 people to receive the vaccine by the end of May. This as countries begin the slow process of hitting the reset button. America is slowly opening for business. Customers returning to some restaurants in Georgia and Tennessee. Texas will follow suit this Friday, and manufacturing and construction will resume next week in Ohio. President Trump is urging governors to also get going on opening schools.
Not a long way to go in the school system right now for this season, for this year, but I think you'll see a lot of schools open up, even if it's for a very short period of time.
Dr. Scott Atlas at the Hoover Institution told CBN's Faith Nation that because we know more about the virus now, more states can open back up.
What we know is that the risk of dying is extremely low, far lower than what was originally thought, and it's very targeted to certain groups.
Some Americans are still willing to take risks to fly. This flight from New York to Charlotte was nearly filled and without much social distancing. The longer the shutdown continues, the greater the concern a food shortage is coming, with 13 of the nation's meat plants closed and many farmers unable to get their products to market.
We have people downstate who need food. We have farmers upstate who can't sell their product. We have to put those two things together.
In New York, hundreds of volunteers are raising money to buy food from farmers and ship it to others.
We're able to buy food from farmers and simultaneously feed the people in the South Bronx that need that food.
Doctors now believe people with antibodies may be key to treating the most critically ill and are donating plasma after they recover. Just 2.5 weeks ago, Jimmy Hayden was in a coma and given a dose of experimental plasma. Back home with his wife and 4 kids, Hayden met the man online, credited with saving his life.
And David, I can't I can't even put all the words together to say thank you.
You know, all I want to say is that I was happy to do it, and I'm glad you're well.
You just know that you are our hero.
As are all the medical workers on the front line who are working under stressful conditions. The medical director of the emergency department at a New York hospital, Dr. Lorna Breen, who contracted the virus herself and survived, took her own life Sunday. And bad news from China's top scientists, who believe coronavirus is not going to go away, but will likely come back each year. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Thanks, Dale. Pat, that's something that we're definitely praying against.
Better pray, but I think the Lord is greater than some bug. And I think all of us need to pray. The church throughout this world needs to pray, because this thing has come upon us like a plague, and famine is coming along with it. And these are some of the things that were forecast in the book of Revelation, and it was told about by the Lord himself. So plagues, famines, you know, in diverse places, earthquakes, you know, it's a terrible thing, but our trust is in the Lord, and he will take us through, okay?